today on Rappler. The shock of the weekend as boxing champ Manny Pacquiao falls to Juan Manuel Marquez. Catholic bishops will watch closely as lawmakers cast their votes on the Reproductive Health bill. And the Philippines will support a rearmed Japan to balance China. Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. Pacquiao fans reel as their hero, boxing champ Manny Pacquiao, falls to arch-rival Juan Manuel Marquez. Boxing fans show their disbelief on social networking site Twitter. Mai Rojas tweets, "I really don't know what just happened." Crystal Alvarez tweets, "No, Pacquiao lost." While Emil Feliz is immediately concerned, saying, "Hope Manny is okay." Peter Flores thinks Pacquiao should hang his gloves. He tweets, "I think Pacquiao should quit after this fight. Mayweather is never going to make that fight happen anyway." But professional boxer Michael Zewski says, "I don't think Pacquiao should retire. He wasn't tired, slow, and powerless. He got KO'd. That's not an aging factor." Sunday's match was the fourth meeting between the two. Natasha Gutierrez tells us why this victory was the most resounding for Marquez.
It was a punch heard around the world. A short right. That's all it took for Mexican fighter Juan Manuel Marquez to drop world champion boxer Manny Pacquiao like a sack of potatoes. The knockout came at the last second of the sixth round. It was Pacquiao's first since 1999, and it caught everyone by surprise. Pacquiao had been out-punching his arch-rival and was ahead in the unofficial scorecards before the devastating hit.
Yeah, he never saw it coming. If you watch the replay, it's about a 2-inch punch. Manny just got caught swinging a little bit wild, and we got caught, and it was a great knockout.
The fight is the fourth between the two in the past 8 years. Marquez's win gives a definitive end to the two-storied rivalry, at least for now. Already, there is talk about a possible rematch, which both Marquez and Pacquiao say they are open to.
And if there's a demand for a fifth fight, the guys want to do it again, what better fight can you make? I mean, you have two guys who want to fight.
Knocked unconscious, Pacquiao was unable to attend the post-fight press conference and was taken to the hospital for brain scans. A triumphant Marquez, meanwhile, celebrated the victory he has longed for since 2004. Pacquiao won 2 of their last 3 fights, while the first bout was a draw. But none of the 3 were as clear a victory as this.
Yo creo que ahora sí ya nos hizo justicia la revolución, justicia divina, y la verdad que esto es gracias a la preparación, gracias a todo el trabajo que hemos hecho. Estoy muy feliz. Este triunfo no solo es mío, sino de mi equipo de trabajo, de mi familia y de todos los mexicanos que nos estuvieron apoyando aquí.
This victory, I think the revolution makes justice to us. And this victory is not only my victory, this victory is for the entire country of Mexico. I feel very, very happy.
Pacquiao has been cleared by the hospital of any serious injuries. In a statement, Pacquiao congratulated his opponent and said, "I have no excuses. It was a good fight and he deserved the victory. I think boxing fans who watched us were winners too. I'm looking forward to a nice rest and then I will be back to fight." In a separate television interview, Pacquiao also called the hit a lucky punch. It was a stunning end to a thrilling fight. But is it the beginning of the end of Pacquiao's remarkable career? Natasha Gutierrez, Rappler, Manila.
Rappler sports analyst Carlos Cinco takes apart Pacquiao Marquez 4. He says before round 5, Pacquiao had control of the fight. All 3 official judges unanimously had Pacquiao up by a point, 47-46, as Pacquiao appeared to be gaining momentum. According to ESPN Stats Info, Pacquiao outlanded Marquez 94-51 in total punches and 68-41 in power punches in the first 6 rounds. Cinco says, had Pacquiao chosen to play defense instead of lunging in recklessly at the end of that fateful 6th round, he would most likely have gone on to win the fight. The United Nations launches a $65 million global aid appeal Monday to help survivors of Typhoon Pablo. The typhoon slammed Mindanao last week, leaving at least 647 people dead and nearly 800 still missing. More than 5 million are affected. UN Humanitarian Coordinator Luisa Carvalho says the funds would initially help provide food, shelter, and emergency shelter to 480,000 people in the worst hit areas. Landslides and floods from the typhoon destroy entire communities, and desperate families line the roads, holding signs and begging for food. Carvalho says the typhoon, the strongest to hit the region for more than 80 years, left its many poor residents without the means to feed their families. She says the UN aid program will help survivors rehabilitate the devastated farm sector. Australia leads foreign aid pledged for the typhoon's victims, committing 515 million pesos in humanitarian assistance. The United States is the second largest donor with 127 million pesos. The Sin Tax Reform Bill overcomes its final hurdle after the Bicameral Conference Committee approves the reconciled version of the measure. Delegates from the Senate and the House of Representatives finish hammering out the final version after a 4-hour meeting Monday. Senator Franklin Drilon calls the approval a, quote, breakthrough. He says, quote, this is a reform measure that this president has pushed for and which we will have after he signs the bill into law. Drilon says he expects President Aquino to sign the bill into law before Christmas. Last week, the BICAM agreed to raise an additional 33.96 billion pesos in revenues from tobacco and alcoholic products in 2013 in its first year of implementation. Catholic bishops say they will be present in the plenary to watch lawmakers cast their votes on the Reproductive Health Bill on Wednesday. Father Melvin Castro of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines says the anti-RH lawmakers asked them to come. Anti-RH Cagayan de Oro Representative Rufus Rodriguez says they're ready for a vote, but adds they will still pursue their amendments. RH bill sponsor Albay Representative Edsa Lagman says the bishops are welcome in the House of Representatives, but he says, quote, they're cautioned not to demean congresspersons by treating them like docile sheep to be watched and shepherded. Lagman adds, if the veiled purpose of the bishop's presence in the gallery is to sow fear, they will not succeed. Transportation Secretary Joseph Abaya, Trade and Industry Secretary Gregorio Domingo signed the Air Passenger Bill of Rights Tuesday. It will take effect on December 21 in time for the Christmas traffic rush. The bill aims to protect travelers by setting guidelines on airline processes, including overbooking, ticket refunds, canceled or delayed flights, and misleading advertisements on fares. A key aspect of the joint administrative order is full disclosure. Airlines will be compelled to disclose both in print and verbally the terms and conditions when passengers rebook flights or refund tickets. The Supreme Court changes the format of the 2013 bar exams. This year's exams consisted of 60% multiple choice questions and 40% essay questions. The 2013 exams will now have 80% on essays and 20% on multiple choice. The change is proposed by Justice Arturo Brion, who heads the Supreme Court Committee on Bar Examinations. The examiners will give weight to the students' understanding and appreciation of the facts, laws, and resolution of the issues through application of the law. Foreign Department spokesman Raul Hernandez says the Philippines will support Japan dropping its pacifist constitution to become a full-fledged military force as a balance against a rising China. Foreign Secretary Albert Del Rosario says the Philippines will strongly support a rearmed Japan as a counterweight to what it sees as Chinese provocation. He says, quote, we're looking for balancing factors in the region, and Japan could be a significant balancing factor. China claims most of the South China Sea, including waters close to the shores of its neighbors. It's contested by the Philippines as well as Brunei, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Vietnam, which have overlapping claims to some or all of these areas. Well, last week, Rappler brought you the story of 120 residents from Casiguran, Aurora, marching to Manila to protest the Aurora Pacific Eco Zone and Freeport Authority. APECO says, quote, marchers who claim that their land was forcibly taken from them are, quote, informal settlers in a school reservation owned by the Aurora State College of Technology.
Ang lupa ng aming sinasaka sa halagang 60,000 per hektarya lang po. Ang sabi ko po ay hindi ko binibenta ang lupa namin kasi po ang lupa ay ang buhay. Paano po kung kukunin nila sa amin niya, paano na ang pamilya ko para na nilang pinatay kami?
The statement says APECO has neither coerced anyone to sell their land, nor did it offer to buy land at an unreasonably low price. APECO says it's been negotiating with every private owner and has been buying land at prices ranging from $240,000 to $300,000 per hectare, almost twice the assessed value. It says claims that APECO has been buying land in the area for 60,000 pesos are lies, and adds fear of the fisherfolk that they will be deprived of their livelihood is unfounded, peddled as propaganda by anti-government instigators. LGBT groups joined the Metro Manila Pride March Saturday. The celebration coincides with Human Rights Consciousness Week and National Lesbian Day. The groups want the government to recognize the importance of LGBT issues. Devon Wong reports.
A choir of children serenades the audience. A minister delivers opening remarks.
We are here to attest publicly to your loving commitments to each other and as a community to celebrate your joining.
The blushing lovers are Ivy and Tiffany, exchanging vows in front of Makati City Hall.
We both think it's about time. That's why we're here. Why are you here?
I just want to be with you, that's why I'm here.
The ceremony is a significant step for the couple, but they know it is far from legal.
Politics in the Philippines doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. And there's no one who can actually have a real advocacy for the LGBT community in Manila. So,
on the surface, Filipinos are very tolerant of gay relationships, but this doesn't translate on paper.
I don't know why there's a disconnect between the social norms that are very accepting and the formal regulations that are sort of very strict and rigid.
Supporters of the LGBT community believe it's time for the government to recognize the importance of LGBT issues.
Clearly, there's an effort here to understand that it is not just a personal issue. It's a political issue, it's a civic issue, it's an equal rights issue, it's a human rights issue. And any time that you stand outside of a city hall, you are saying, we are people.
The anti-discrimination bill is still waiting to be passed. Recent amendments now include rights under sexual orientation and gender identity. But opponents of the bill believe that these changes could open the door to same-sex marriage, a shift they claim would jeopardize the country's deep-rooted Catholic values. Pride marchers are determined to make queer identities a part of mainstream Filipino culture.
Other than the fact that you go out to gay clubs or you talk about it amongst yourselves in cafes, it's important that people know that you're here and that you're visible and that you pay taxes and that you want to be heard and that you're not going to be discriminated against anymore.
Until the Philippine government shows more commitment to legalizing LGBT rights, Tiffany and Ivy plan to practice their own commitments symbolically. Devon Wong, Rappler, Manila.
A South Korean newspaper says North Korea is replacing a faulty section of a long-range rocket in a bid to put its launch schedule back on track. On Sunday, North Korea says it's delaying the launch because of unspecified problems found by technicians at the Sohae satellite launch station. The launch is slated between December 10 to 22. On Monday, the Chosun Ilbo newspaper cites satellite images that suggest the faulty rocket sections being replaced to allow the launch to go ahead. The newspaper says Iranian missile experts are also offering technical assistance for the planned launch. Australian police warned motorists about using Apple's new map system after rescuing several people stranded in the wilderness. Victoria State Police say drivers were sent, quote, off the beaten track while attempting to get to the inland town of Mildura. Apple's map system shows Mildura as being in the heart of the Murray Sunset National Park, about 70 kilometers from its actual location. 6 motorists are rescued after following directions on their iPhones, with some stranded for up to 24 hours without food or water. In September, Apple apologized for its glitch-ridden Maps application in the new operating system used by the iPhone 5.